Welcome to Hope's Homemade Kitchen. Today we're making giardiniera, or pickled vegetables. Now this is a wonderful way to preserve those vegetables that maybe have been hanging out in your fridge for a little too long, or a perfect way to use up your garden bounty, or maybe you bought a little too much at the farmer's market. Now these pickled vegetables are perfect for snacking, for a charcuterie tray, or even have them on a sandwich. They're really very tasty and so easy to make. Let's get started and I'll show you the ingredients. The ingredients for the pickled vegetables are vinegar, sugar, filtered water, a variety of vegetables. I have some small slicing peppers, garlic, celery, onion, jalapeno, carrot, cauliflower, and some of the spices that I'll be using are red pepper, black peppercorns, kosher salt, bay leaves. I'll also be pickling some cucumbers and red onions. Okay, I'm going to start prepping some of these vegetables and we'll just see how many we can get down into these jars. This is really just a vegetable mix. This is a wonderful, colorful mix, very tasty for snacking. And I'm told it's very traditional to have in Italian households. And the version that most Italians use have pretty much just the vinegar solution, and then the Chicago giardiniera has oil added to it. And I think the vegetables are a little smaller in the Chicago version. Really what you want to do is keep all these vegetables to bite-sized pieces. So I think for the carrots, I'm just gonna do like sticks. You want to keep them in similar sizes. And I think you're going to be surprised it's not going to take as many vegetables as you think to fill up these jars. I love all the color variety. All right, so that's a good amount of carrots. Next, I'm just going to prepare these peppers. And you can do them in any shape that you like. I think these will be pretty like this. You can take the seeds out if you want. I don't think it's necessary. In the vinegar solution, they're really just going to float to the bottom anyway. Now these are the sweet, kind of the smaller bell peppers. They're not hot peppers. And I'm going to do some celery. And any of these vegetables are optional. If you don't like them, leave them out. I'm also going to put in a couple of cucumbers. Now these are cucumbers from my garden. They're not English cucumbers, so I am going to peel them. Now sometimes these kind of cucumbers have a lot more seeds in them, and they do. So I'm just going to take a spoon and run my spoon down there and get those seeds out. Kind of makes a little boat. Then I'm just going to cut them into bite-sized pieces. Now if you're using English cucumbers, you can leave the skin on and that'll add some extra green color to it. It'll be really pretty. Okay, I want my cauliflower to be in bite-sized pieces. So I'm just going to go through and take the flowerets off. That's kind of like that. So I'm going to start putting them in my jars. Now, if you make this, comment down below and let me know what vegetables you like to use. I have a friend who uses radishes too. I'm sure that's really pretty. It's so tasty and refreshing. And it's really, it's good for you too. It's good for a healthy diet. So I have a layer of cauliflower there. Now I'm just going to alternate. Put a few other vegetables in, some cucumbers, colorful peppers, little celery, I have some hot peppers as well. I'm going to cut those up. Just put a few in each one. That'll just add a little pizzazz. All right, looks like I can add more cauliflower. Cauliflower is kind of the base for this. Add a couple more carrots to each one, and you can just do whatever mixture you like. You want to keep them pretty packed in there. I'm just taking kind of a little muddler tool and packing them in. I may be able to use this whole head of cauliflower. And of course, what you don't use, you can use for other, in salads or roasted cauliflower or roasted vegetables. It's all good. I think I'm going to add a little bit of sliced jalapeno. Now, if you don't like spicy, you can certainly leave any of these spices out. Spicy peppers, anything like that. This just adds a little interest and color too. I'm going to slice a little bit of white onion. Just because I do like onion, and I think it'll be really good in there. All right, let's pack that down as much as we can. We'll probably be able to get more vegetables in there. A few more sweet peppers. It's going to be beautiful. Okay, look at that. Those are packed pretty tight in there. Hey, one thing I almost forgot to do is I want to put a couple of garlic cloves in each of these jars, and also the spices that go with it. All you need to do is just peel the skin off of the garlic cloves. Now, I love the taste of garlic, so I'm going to put a few slices in each jar. And you can put them in whole if you like. I think it will develop more garlic taste if you slice them up. Just throwing a few slices in each one. I also want to add a bay leaf to each jar. That's totally optional. If you have fresh bay leaves, that'll be probably better. All I have is dry. I'm going to put about 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes in each one of these jars. I know it already has the jalapeno peppers in there. And then I'm just going to put in a few whole peppercorns in each jar. All right. And now we can prepare our brine. Got 3½ cups of filtered water, 3½ cups of distilled white vinegar. So that's equal parts vinegar and water. 2 1/4 tablespoons of kosher salt, 10½ tablespoons of sugar, then we just want to bring this to a light boil. Just make sure all of the sugar and salt is dissolved in there. Okay, now it's come to a light boil. So I'm going to turn the heat off and let it cool a little bit, and then we'll spoon it into the jars. Okay, the brine has cooled off a little bit. I'm going to spoon it carefully into these jars. You want to do your best to cover the vegetables. And then you want to take the tool that you were using to mash down the vegetables, just kind of give it another push a couple more times and just hopefully get out any air bubbles that are still remaining in there. Now you want to let these cool down a little bit before you put the jar lids on. And then you'll store them in the refrigerator for at least 2 to 3 days before you get into them. That'll give them time to really start pickling and just let that brine do its job, imparting all of that wonderful flavor. You'll want to use good quality jars, mason jars, designed for canning, even though these are just going to be in the refrigerator. All right, that's it. Once they cool down, we're going to cap them off and put in the refrigerator. Now I'm going to get started on the cucumbers and red onions. Okay, now I'm going to do some cucumbers and red onion. I'm going to experiment with just peeling stripes. I think it's pretty with the colors. I am going to get the seeds out of it though. I've got another pot of brine on for these last 2 jars. Okay, we'll see how many fit into this jar. I may need to peel another one. What I think I'm going to do is fill the rest of it with white onion. I'm just going to add in a few peppercorns in there, a couple of slices of jalapeno, a little bit of red pepper, and a garlic clove. I'm going to cut another garlic clove for my onions, a little bit of pepper, red pepper flakes, a little bit of peppercorns. Now in my other video where I did pickled onions, my brine was a little bit different. Brines can vary just based on recipes, so I'm using the same brine that I've used for the Giardiniera. And that'll be just fine. In my other video, I had a little bit of red wine vinegar. You want to kind of break them up, break them apart. Pickled vegetables are just so good to have on hand. You can put them in salads, in grain bowls, so many things. Charcuterie boards. Just eat them on their own. I'm going to put a few slices of jalapeno with the seeds. So really you only need like 1 onion to go in these little pint-sized jars. All right, I'm hoping this will be plenty. I think it will. Push them down a little bit, get those bubbles out. All right, once they cool off a little bit, I'll get the lids on them and we'll store in the refrigerator. And it's best to wait 2 to 3 days before you eat them. And that way all the flavors will meld together perfectly. Thanks so much for joining me today as we made giardiniera, pickled red onions, and pickled cucumbers. There won't be a taste test today because they do need to go into the refrigerator for 2 to 3 days before we eat them. But trust me when I say this, you're going to enjoy them. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to this channel. Hit the bell for more videos and share it with your friends. Comment down below if you like to pickle vegetables and what your favorite vegetable is. We'll see you next time.